Prime Minister did not even hint at, much less disclose, his intention to take the massive salary increase that he claimed he had given up when the heat reached him after Nigel Clark announced this massive salary increase on May 16th, 2023. Not a peep out of him in the election campaign. Can you imagine that in February this year, a month or so ago, we suddenly learned that effective from payday last September 2025, right after the election, the Prime Minister would be receiving his big salary after all. Madam Speaker, that is the latest chop. That is a real brogard move. It was a shameful deception, not worthy of the high office that you hold.
I want to thank our Cabinet Secretary, the Honourable Audrey Sewell, and the team of the Cabinet Office. It is not well known that the Cabinet Office is actually a ministry, and the Cabinet Secretary is the Permanent Secretary. It is a ministry. I also want to acknowledge the support of Ministers Wheatley, Marks and Fitzhenley, and our Permanent Secretary, Ambassador Rocky Mead, at the Office of the Prime Minister, another ministry of government. Madam Speaker, this administration has always been serious about security. We have recently delineated the Ministry of Defense with its own administrative standing, which is anchored by the Permanent Secretary in the OPM, Ambassador Rocky Mead, former Chief of Defense Staff. And we did this to yield greater cross-functionality with ODPEM. I want to commend Ministers Montague and Morgan and Permanent Secretary Arlene Williams, hardworking Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development. Madam Speaker, I stand here as Prime Minister, and most people would understand my job to be directing and coordinating all of government through cabinet ministers. However, I also want to point out that I stand here as a Minister of Government as well, with direct oversight of several substantial portfolio responsibilities. I don't only direct, convene and preside, I also do the heavy lifting of ministerial work as well. Over 4 ministries. Madam Speaker, the leader of the opposition only talks. I do the job of Prime Minister, and I head 4 other ministries. The leader of the opposition only talks. Many times nonsense. And takes home $27 million. In the last term, the leader of the opposition earned more than the Prime Minister. The opposition spokesman on finance stood in this House and said the opposition has no problem with the increase in MP salaries. A few days later, the PNP General Secretary put out a release saying they strongly object to the salary increase for cabinet ministers and members of parliament. Yet, Madam Speaker, none of them, with their self-righteous objection, declined to take their salary increase. None of them. In fact, Madam Speaker, they were the first ones calling the Parliament to find out the amount of their retroactive pay. I'll share this with you, Madam Speaker. A member on that side, not to be named, a member on that side, not to be named, obviously concerned that the public posture of the PNP could force the government to reverse the pay increase, called to say that I should ignore the statement of the PNP General Secretary and the Leader of the Opposition, as all their MPs agreed with the increase and could not survive without it. You know yourself. Madam Speaker, when I took the decision to forego the pay increase, I said in a widely circulated press statement, this has broader implications for not only the current holder of the office of Prime Minister, but previous Prime Ministers or their surviving spouses and possibly future Prime Ministers. It therefore must be considered very carefully. My current decision to forego any salary increase could easily be changed by another Prime Minister in the future, or a new mandate may give an opportunity to reconsider the Prime Minister's salary. On September 3rd, 2025, Leader of the Opposition, the people of Jamaica weighed all these matters in the political scale and gave my administration a new mandate based on the work we have done to earn their confidence. Madam Speaker, I have a gift here, if the standing orders would allow. I want to give it to the Leader of the Opposition. If you don't want it, that's fine. But I thought it would have been so appropriate. I thought this would be a good. By the way, Madam Speaker, this is a cap that is one of our local designers. It's a very popular cap, and I thought that the Leader of the Opposition would do well to have a cap like this. Madam Speaker,